We learn fear from all of the external factors that are put upon us, but the truth of who you are is internal to you. As we start to master, we're moving beyond the fear to stand solely in the love. So we're moving beyond the dualistic model into a non-dualistic model. And that non-dualistic model is very much from where we came. So why do we have dualism, and what is it about as the purpose, the general purpose in this life, and certainly about mastery? There are multiple reasons why we experience a dualism in this lifetime. And so in general, why is it important for mastery? Because if you're looking at my Sage's template, it lays it out with great clarity. In this life, we experience everything in a dualistic model. We know there's an inside because there's an outside. There is love, which is the absence of fear, and there is fear that is the absence of love. And so we learn fear from all of the external factors that are put upon us. But the truth of who you are is internal to you. So if you're hearing layers of dualism in this, right? As we start to master, we're moving beyond the fear to stand solely in the love. So we're moving beyond the dualistic model into a non-dualistic model. And that non-dualistic model is very much from where we came. So why do we have dualism, and what is it about as the purpose, the general purpose in this life, and certainly about mastery? Let's go back to my parable, Note C. Note C says, okay, you come from a place of energy, and let's imagine that energy is sound. And that sound is a chord of infinite notes in your Note C. And you know your Note C, but it doesn't really make much sense because all you know is the sound of the whole chord until one day Note C is out of tune. And the whole chord is like, whoa, Note C is out of tune. And that's you. Because you're out of tune, you sound different than the chord, so you sound separate from the chord. You're not really separate from the chord, but you sound separate. So your greatest illusion is that of being separate. You're out of tune is when you are out of key or laden with challenges, fear that takes you away from love, which is you in harmony and unity with the chord. So the fear represents the out of tune, the out of key. And the love is represented by the harmony and the unity. So in this life, because our greatest illusion is that of separation, it becomes critical to mastery that we understand what it is that makes us feel separate. In all of mastery, it is so important to be aware of that which you are mastering and why. Whether it's an emotion on the fear-based side of the equation that is aligning you with a challenge that you need to master, or want to master. You don't need to master anything, that's your choice. But if you choose to master a challenge, you want to become aware of it. And I always say that awareness is the greatest first step, because the more aware you are of what it is you are mastering, then the more you're going to accomplish as you start to heal. So when we look at the dualistic model, to really comprehend what it is about in this lifetime helps you set the overall stage for your work in mastery. In this life, we have, as I mentioned, love-based and fear-based feelings or emotions. And that's by design. We learn the fear-based emotions from external sources. We learn them from family and people and society and culture and systems and so much more, right? All the experiences in your life is where you learn the fear. And that pulls you away from, the truth of who you are. But the truth of who you are is inside you. It's just buried underneath that pocket of everything that you learned. And so in this life, as you start to master self, you start to transcend those fears and those challenges by healing them. And as you transcend them, you start to know that truth. Now, what you're doing in that is you're moving from looking external, where there's all that limitation and fear, to the internal, where there is all of that expansive freedom, that truth within you. So again, you're looking to move beyond the fear into the love. And why is that a part of mastery? Well, when we look at love, we look at the expansiveness And it is in that freedom, in that expansiveness, that we feel, oh, so centered and balanced. We feel calm and peaceful. Everything is just aligned. Fear is what throws us off balance. It takes us off center. So our balance isn't in between the two sets of feelings and experiences. It's on the side of love. So again, as we move into a truly balanced, centered lifestyle and existence, we have transcended the fear that throws us out of balance or off center. As we start to really feel that difference, this isn't something that we make a conscious choice not to think that, not to feel that way. I'm just, oh, I feel angry. No, I'm not going to feel angry. I'm going to feel love today. You can do that, but we don't do life. We experience it. So this is about transcending those fears completely so that in your experience, you're not even considering that they exist because they're not coming up inside you. You're living free of that. So it's beyond choice. You've made choices that have taken you beyond choices that include the fear-based emotions. We are one. We know we are one because we're told we're one, but we don't quite know what that means. And we have symbols all over this earth that show us we are one. Take your body, for instance. Your body is one body of millions of cells doing trillions of activities. But it's one body. And we don't discern one cell from the next cell. In our medicine, we fragment it to organs and systems, but the body doesn't. The body is just one body. And that's just one example of how we are one. So how do we start to feel ourselves as that one tiny piece of the infinite whole and know that we are an integral part of the infinite whole? That's where life mastery starts to open those doors, to move us into that space. I've shared before that I do a meditation that helps me kind of conceptualize and feel that oneness. And I will share it again. I use crystal bowls. You can use whatever would work for you. And I listen to the sound of one bowl as it lifts and merges with all the other bowls' sounds that are in the background. And I stay very connected until I am a part of that whole, that one sound of all of the bowls, by following the one sound. As I meditate on that over and over, I begin to feel that integral part of the whole that I am. And I transcend the limitations of being separate from that whole. So I offer that to you as an opportunity to start to move through this dualistic experience and start to taste the non-dualistic experience. It's of a higher resonance or frequency because it's love, right? So it's not some mystery. It's of love. Love is a higher frequency than fear. And again, that's a continuum, right? But the dualistic model isn't about the gray zone always. Sometimes it's about moving beyond one to get to the other. We know there's an inside because there's an outside. But if we're in an outside pavilion, it's hard to discern what is inside and what is outside. So we use the outline of the rooftop or the concrete pad or the pillars. But it's really illusion because there really is no inside or outside. And that's the truth in this life. There is only the inside. And that inside is infinitely connecting you with the one. So it's interesting that we think that we're going to look outward for all of the stuff. Like we always think of the infant being up there, right? Whatever that is, go up there. But we also know when we look out of these eyes, that's where we see limitation. When we go inside, that's where we move beyond limitation and enter the infinite. So there are many ways that we have complicated things in our life with fear, by teachings, by limitations. As you go inward and you tap that source of wisdom, you tap that infinite source inside you. And that's what will allow you to feel the absence of the dualistic model that exists in this life on this earth. So we've looked at the dualistic model, both from the physical realm as well as the mastery realm, to help you understand why it's so important to really be aware of the dualism if you're going to choose via free will to transcend that dualism and go into a non-dualistic existence. I hope each and every one of you really enjoys seeing the dualism for what it is, to help you get to the place of non-dualism, to a place of pure love, joy, and freedom. Thank you so much for joining me, and please visit KristenBomas.com, where you can easily access all of my social circles.